And now taking an in-depth look at COVID-19's impact on Kern County, specifically how COVID relief funding from the state was allocated. With California counties receiving a total of $16 billion in relief funds, a health advocacy organization, California Pan-Ethnic Health Network, sought to audit counties as a way to ensure the funds were properly spent. Although there was very little regulation on how the counties could spend the money, there were recommendations by the Treasury like responding to public health and negative economic impacts of the pandemic, providing premium pay to essential workers, using funds to make up for revenue loss during the pandemic, and lastly, making necessary investments in water, sewer, and broadband infrastructure. The organization looked at spending reports, engagement efforts, and sent all counties a questionnaire, then based on that information created scorecards. 23 ABC's Vanya Patino spoke with the organization and breaks down what score they gave Kern County and why. Vanya.
That's right, Brianna. Well, Kern County has been allocated $174 million and have already received $87 million last May. The remaining 87 are set to come in this month. Although the money was spent within legal parameters, the organization gave Kern County an overall C score because they think the funds could have gone towards helping more underserved communities and say the county could have done a better job getting community input on how to spend the money.
With Kern County, we found that there's two programs that they potentially spend money, so out of the ARPA money towards law enforcement. So one of the programs is the county's premium pay program.
Wei Yu-jung, the community advocacy manager with California Pan-Ethnic Health Network, says although the organization agrees with compensating employees working through the pandemic, they think the money could have gone to different essential workers.
Grocery shop workers or transit workers, healthcare workers, and agriculture workers in a lot of the rural counties.
The premium pay program gave $3,000 to eligible county employees, which includes law enforcement. County documents justify this by stating they continued to make sure the public was being served and protected while dealing with their own pandemic stress. There was also a second program that created a similar concern. The program, using $89 million, which came from the COVID funds, was used to keep county services operating as usual, despite budget shortfalls brought on by the pandemic. The expenditure report shows the money was given to services such as police, detentions, probations, animal control, and park improvements. To put that into perspective, the county budget of $3.3 billion already includes over $268 million towards the Sheriff's Department. And now breaking down how the COVID relief funds are being spent according to court documents, the largest chunk at 44% is going towards stabilization and revenue loss. The second biggest area with 24% is public health emergency impacts like homeless outreach and public hospital financial impacts. Next, we have premium pay with 12%, then 9% towards water infrastructure in Lamont and replacing and installing wells. Then at 8%, improvements to sewer infrastructure. Second to last, public Wi-Fi at county parks costing about 5% of the budget. And finally, with almost 3% going towards the addressing disproportional impacts of COVID-19 category, those funds were allocated for improving parks. The argument lies in the potential that these funds could have been used for communities most affected by COVID versus where they actually went. And that is what the scorecards based on a 51-question survey look to measure.
We wanted to know what kinds of projects that the county had allocated or spent funds on. We wanted to know how is the county trying to promote racial equity through the uses of these funds? How is the county engaging their communities in the decision making? And also, what kinds of measures did the county take to ensure transparency, accountability, and accessibility?
The county did not agree to an interview, but sent a statement saying, quote, "We do not think a response to this report card will add value, since the PEHN does not accurately depict the extensive breadth of our SLFRF investment across various communities, organizations, and business sectors within Kern County." Meanwhile, 23 ABC has previously reported on efforts during the early stages of the pandemic. sending out canvassing teams into various parts of underserved communities, going door to door, handing out PPE, doing testing, and giving out vaccines to those who wanted or needed it. However, it does not seem this was part of this particular funding. Meanwhile, the organization says the scores are not meant to punish or call out the county, but rather better reflect on how the funds are being used.
Scorecards are really meant as a learning opportunity for counties to think about how they can do that. We think counties need to do things like working closely with community members to identify specific needs and the solutions that people want to see public dollars going towards.
And again, the county will be getting the remaining $87 million this month and have until 2024 to be allocated and 2026 to be spent. The organization hopes this scorecard prompts a review and comes with changes in the distribution of those funds. In studio, Vani Patino, 23 ABC News, connecting you.